You are not unlucky, not yet. You are asking the world to bet on a man with no proof. That is different. Luck matters. Only a fool denies this. Machiavelli never pretended that fortune was imaginary. Some men are born closer to power. Some inherit money, access, timing, beauty, family reputation, introductions and rooms you were never invited into. Some men are trusted before they have proven themselves. Some men are forgiven before they understand the cost of failure. Some men are rescued when they fall, while others are forced to crawl out of the dirt alone. Fine. That is reality. But reality is not a permission slip for weakness. Because if luck touched you today, what would it find? Would it find a sharp skill? Would it find a visible body of work? Would it find a clear offer? Would it find evidence that you can deliver? Would it find a reputation that lowers the risk of choosing you? Or would it find vague ambition, private potential, scattered effort, half-finished plans, and a man still waiting for someone else to recognize what he has not yet made visible? This is the truth most men avoid. Most men are not unlucky. They are unprepared. And being unprepared feels like bad luck because the result looks the same from the outside. No money, no recognition, no opportunity, no movement, no one replies, no one chooses you, no one opens the door. But the cause is different. A man who is truly unlucky is struck by events beyond his control. A man with no proof is not being struck by fate. He is being ignored by reality. That sentence should disturb you, because it does not allow you to hide. It does not allow you to worship chaos. It does not allow you to turn fortune into a religion when you have not yet mastered discipline. Machiavelli understood fortune. He knew that chance, timing, politics, disease, betrayal, war, inheritance, and human instability could raise or ruin men. He wrote that fortune is the arbiter of half of our actions, but the other half is left to us to control. That is the part weak men delete. They remember fortune. They forget control. They remember that the world is unfair. They forget that preparation still matters. They remember that some men receive advantages. They forget that advantage is not the same as readiness. A flood destroys the village that built no walls. The same flood passes through the city that prepared channels. Luck is the water. Preparation is the structure. Most men curse the water because they never built the structure. So this is not about pretending luck does not exist. It is about refusing to use luck as an excuse for your lack of evidence. You must separate three things if you want to become powerful: what you cannot control, what you can control, and what you must build anyway. This distinction cleans the mind. Because the weak man blends everything together, he says, I cannot control who supports me, so why try? He says, I cannot control the algorithm, so why publish? He says, I cannot control whether clients reply, so why pitch? He says, I cannot control whether I get lucky, so why build? This is not realism. This is intellectual laziness wearing a serious face. A strategic man thinks differently. He accepts what he cannot control without surrendering what he can. That is the Machiavellian mind. Cold enough to see fortune, disciplined enough to build against it. You cannot control where you were born. You cannot control whether your family had money. You cannot control whether powerful people were already around you. You cannot control whether someone gives you an introduction. You cannot control whether a platform favors your post. You cannot control whether a mediocre man gets lucky before you. You cannot control timing completely. You cannot control human attention completely. You cannot control opportunity completely. And denying this would be childish. The world is not fair. Some men start closer to the throne. Some men begin with weapons already placed in their hands. Some men are allowed to fail privately, while others must fail in public. This is reality. But the unsupported man must understand unfairness without becoming infected by it. Because once unfairness becomes your identity, you stop building. You start collecting examples. You become a historian of other men's advantages. You study who had help, who had money, who knew someone, who got promoted too fast, who did not deserve it, who was chosen before you. And the more evidence you collect, the more justified you feel doing nothing. That is the drug of victimhood. It makes you accurate and useless. You may be right. The game may be uneven. But your accuracy does not produce leverage. Your resentment does not create proof. Your bitterness does not become money. Your analysis of unfairness does not make you harder to ignore. A strategic man does not waste his best years proving the world is unfair. He assumes it. Then he builds anyway. That is where power begins. Now look at what you can control. You can control the skill you choose. You can control whether that skill solves a valuable problem. You can control how deeply you practice. You can control how often you produce. You can control whether you document your work. You can control whether you create proof. You can control whether you publish. You can control whether your offer is clear. You can control whether you send thoughtful outreach. You can control whether you study the market. You can control whether you improve after feedback. You can control whether you quit after silence. You can control whether your standards remain intact when nobody is watching. These are not small things. These are the levers. The weak man ignores these levers because they accuse him. It is easier to say, "I have no luck," than to say, "I have not produced enough proof." It is easier to say, "No one gives me a chance," than to say, "I have not made myself safe to bet on." It is easier to say, "The algorithm hates me," than to say, "My signal is weak." It is easier to say, "Clients do not understand my value," than to say, "My offer is vague." It is easier to say, "People only help those with connections," than to say, "I have not created enough visible value for serious people to care." This is why control is painful. Control removes excuses. And men who secretly love their excuses hate control. But if you want power, you must become loyal to what you can influence. Not because it guarantees success immediately, but because it is the only territory that belongs to you. Your skill belongs to you. Your output belongs to you. Your proof belongs to you. Your discipline belongs to you. Your signal belongs to you. Your offer belongs to you. Your reputation, while never fully controlled, can be shaped by repeated action. This is the territory of the unsupported man. He does not own the world. He owns his levers, and he pulls them until reality begins to move. This is where proof enters. Proof is how the unknown man manufactures credibility. Without proof, you need someone to believe in you. With proof, belief becomes easier. Without proof, you need an introduction. With proof, your work can introduce you. Without proof, you need a chance. With proof, you create the reason for the chance. People do not avoid you because they hate your dreams. They avoid you because trusting an unknown man is expensive. If they hire the wrong person, they lose money. If they recommend the wrong person, they lose reputation. If they partner with the wrong person, they lose time. So stop asking why people do not gamble on you. Become less of a gamble. That is what proof does. Proof says, "This man can think." Proof says, "This man can build." Proof says, "This man has repeated the process." Proof says, "This man has evidence." Proof says, "This man is not just talking." If you are a video editor, proof is not saying you understand attention. Proof is a before and after edit. Proof is a retention breakdown. Proof is a public teardown explaining why the first 30 seconds failed and how you fixed it. If you are a writer, proof is not saying you have ideas. Proof is published work. Proof is a landing page that converts. Proof is a thread, an essay, an email, a sales page, a body of work that shows judgment under pressure. If you are a strategist, proof is not saying you see what others miss. Proof is diagnosis. Proof is a case study. Proof is showing the gap, the cause, the fix, and the result. A hidden skill is not leverage. It is buried ammunition. Skill alone is hidden power. Proof is power made visible, and visibility is not vanity. Visibility is distribution. It is placing your proof where opportunity can encounter it. Before visibility, luck has to find you in the dark. After visibility, luck has more surface area to touch. Every post is a surface. Every case study is a surface. Every teardown is a surface. Every offer is a surface. Every outreach message is a surface. Every public proof asset is a surface. You are increasing the number of places where opportunity can collide with your work. This is not superstition. This is strategy. Men who say, "I just need luck," often have no surfaces. They are invisible. Nothing can happen because nothing is exposed. And if this message is hitting you because you are building with no support, no network, no family backing, and no one opening doors for you, then use the collection I built on Patreon called Succeed with Zero Support. It contains more than 30 uncensored video lessons with a clear path for men who have to rise without permission, without connections, and without applause. The link is in the video description and in the pinned comment. Do not go there for comfort. Go there if you are ready to build proof, leverage, discipline, and power without waiting to be chosen. Now understand the next layer. Opportunity without a clear offer becomes confusion. People may admire your content and still not know how to pay you. They may like your work and still not understand what problem you solve. They may respect your thinking and still not know what to ask for. A clear offer converts attention into action. I help this specific person achieve this specific result through this specific mechanism. That sentence is not decoration. It is a weapon. It tells the market where to place you. It tells buyers when to think of you. It tells opportunity what shape to take. Luck favors clarity because clarity gives luck a place to land. A vague man may get attention and lose the transaction. A clear man turns attention into movement. So before you blame luck, ask yourself, is your skill sharp? Is your proof visible? Is your offer clear? Is your reputation clean? Is your process reliable? Is your discipline strong? Can opportunity land on you without collapsing into chaos? Because fortune does not replace foundation, it tests it. Now you must build the system. Because proof created once is not enough. A single piece of proof can be dismissed as luck. A single result can be ignored as timing. A single good week can be called motivation. A single strong performance can be called temporary. But repeated proof becomes difficult to deny. This is where serious men separate themselves from spectators. A spectator wants one lucky opening. A serious man builds machinery. A system is how you continue when motivation dies. A system is how you produce when no one is clapping. A system is how you avoid drifting back into excuses. A system is how you make effort repeatable enough to become power. You need a system for learning, a system for producing, a system for publishing, a system for outreach, a system for review, a system for improvement. Without systems, you are ruled by mood. And mood is a terrible ruler. It is soft when you need force. It is dramatic when you need precision. It disappears when work becomes boring. The unsupported man cannot afford to be ruled by mood. He must become governed by protocol. This is how proof reduces dependence on luck, not by eliminating chance, but by changing your relationship to chance. A man with no proof needs luck to rescue him. A man with proof needs luck only to accelerate him. That is the difference. The first man is waiting for a miracle. The second man is already moving. When luck appears for the first man, it finds weakness. When luck appears for the second man, it finds machinery. Machinery can use luck. Weakness wastes it. Now look at the men you call lucky. Not all of them, but many. When the moment came, they had something ready. A body of work, a skill, a reputation, a connection they had maintained, a piece of content already posted, an offer already built, a product already shipped, a portfolio already visible. So when the opening appeared, they could move. You saw the opening, you did not see the preparation, so you called it luck. That is one of the great lies spectators tell themselves. They see the harvest and call it fortune. They did not watch the planting. Of course, some people truly are handed outcomes. Do not be naive. Some men are lifted by forces they did not earn. Some men are protected by names they did not build. Some men are given trust because of blood, status, beauty, or proximity. Fine. Let the lucky man be lucky. Your task is not to prove he had help. Your task is to become dangerous without it. That is the colder path. The cleaner path. The path that belongs to the man who refuses to be psychologically owned by comparison. Because comparison does not just waste time. It steals command. It teaches your mind to look sideways when it should be building forward. It makes you emotionally dependent on another man's story. It turns his advantage into your excuse. It turns his timing into your bitterness. It turns his access into your identity. And once another man's advantage becomes your identity, he owns territory inside your mind without even knowing you exist. That is weakness. Not because the unfairness is fake, but because your attention is real. And attention is one of the few assets you still control. So reclaim it. For the next 90 days, you are not allowed to say, "I am unlucky." You are allowed to say only this: "I do not have enough proof yet." That sentence will hurt. Good. It should. Because it points to something you can change. Every time you feel ignored, build proof. Every time you feel behind, build proof. Every time you envy someone with connections, build proof. Every time you think the market is unfair, build proof. Every time you feel invisible, build proof and distribute it. But do not say this as a slogan. Turn it into protocol. For the next 90 days, choose one valuable skill, not 10. 1. Choose one specific audience, not everyone. 1. Create 2 proof assets per week. Publish them on one platform. Send 5 thoughtful outreach messages per week based on diagnosis, not begging. Review every Sunday. Improve the next week. Improve the next week. Do not complicate this. Complexity is often how undisciplined men escape execution. They build systems so elaborate that they never have to face the simple work. They research tools. They redesign plans. They watch tutorials. They create categories. They imagine future brands. They organize their notes. But they do not ship proof. A strategic man does not hide inside planning. He uses planning to produce evidence. 2 proof assets per week for 90 days gives you roughly 24 pieces of evidence. 5 outreach messages per week gives you roughly 60 points of contact. 1 platform gives your signal concentration. 1 audience gives your message relevance. 1 skill gives your improvement direction. Now ask yourself, would your luck have more to work with after 90 days of that? Of course, because now opportunity has something to touch. A prospect can see your thinking. A buyer can understand your offer. A stranger can share your work. A stronger player can notice your consistency. A client can review your proof. A referral can point to evidence instead of making a blind claim. That is how you create surface area for fortune. You do not control luck, but you can make yourself easier for luck to find, and more capable of using it when it arrives. This is the mature relationship with fortune. Not denial, not worship, preparation. Machiavelli did not tell men to pray helplessly before fortune. He taught that power belongs to the man who understands instability, prepares for it, and moves before necessity destroys him. A ruler who relies entirely on fortune is ruined when it changes. The same is true for the unsupported man. If your only strategy is to be discovered, you are fragile. If your only hope is that someone notices your potential, you are fragile. If your only plan is that the right person appears at the right time and finally understands you, you are fragile. That is not ambition. That is dependency, wearing the mask of faith. A man who wants power must stop needing the world to be generous. He must become structured enough that even a small opening can be exploited. And make no mistake, chances will come. Small ones first. A reply, a comment, a question, a low-budget client, a small collaboration, a chance to explain your work, a chance to deliver, a chance to be tested. Most men miss these because they were waiting for a cinematic breakthrough. They wanted one giant door to open. They wanted a powerful person to arrive, point at them and say, "You are the one." That fantasy destroys men. Power often begins through small openings. A small opening becomes proof. Proof becomes trust. Trust becomes bigger opportunity. Bigger opportunity becomes reputation. Reputation becomes leverage. Leverage attracts alliance. This is how serious men rise, not through one miracle, through compounding evidence. So do not despise small chances. Exploit them, document them, turn them into proof, use them as stepping stones. The man who uses small luck well prepares himself for larger luck. The man who wastes small chances is not unlucky. He is not ready for larger ones. That sentence is harsh, but it is useful, because it forces the question. If luck came today, would you be ready? Not emotionally, structurally. Could you show your work in 10 seconds? Could a serious person understand your value in 1 minute? Could a buyer see your proof without needing to trust your words? Could your offer explain itself without you begging? Could your process survive pressure? Could your discipline continue after silence? If not, your first task is not to become luckier. It is to become more prepared, because fortune does not carry the weak for long. It exposes them. It gives them one moment, and their lack of structure collapses under the weight of it. This is why you must stop worshipping the big chance. Build for the small chance. Build so that a small reply becomes a conversation. Build so that a small client becomes a case study. Build so that a small post becomes a proof asset. Build so that a small result becomes a signal. Build so that a small signal becomes reputation. The unsupported man wins by compounding what others ignore. He cannot afford to waste anything. No contact, no result, no lesson, no failure, no feedback. Everything must become material. This is self-command, not self-hatred. You are not attacking yourself. You are taking back territory from excuse. You are refusing to let fortune become a hiding place. You are refusing to worship chaos when you have not yet mastered discipline. There is dignity in that. A weak man says, "I would win if I got lucky." A strategic man says, "I will build until luck has no choice but to be useful." That is the turn. That is where your mind becomes dangerous. Because now every complaint becomes construction. No network, Build proof. No audience. Publish proof. No clients. Create speculative proof. No trust. Stack proof. No luck. Increase your surface area. No recognition. Repeat the signal. No opportunity. Make yourself safer to bet on. This is how a man escapes passive victimhood. Not by pretending the world is fair, but by becoming too prepared to waste the chances he does get. Now remember the framework. What you cannot control. What you can control. What you must build anyway. You cannot control the door, but you can control the evidence you bring to it. You cannot control the gatekeeper, but you can control whether your name means value. You cannot control timing, but you can control whether timing finds you ready. You cannot control who gets lucky, but you can control whether your life is structured to capitalize on your own moments. This is enough, not easy, enough, enough to begin, enough to stop whining, enough to build, enough to reclaim your attention from resentment, enough to stop calling every empty result bad luck. Because the truth is simple. Luck matters. But proof changes how much luck matters. A man with no proof needs fortune to carry him. A man with proof only needs fortune to accelerate what is already moving. So build what moves. Build the skill. Build the proof. Build the offer. Build the platform. Build the system. Build the body of work that makes your name less forgettable. Build until the market has evidence. Build until your claims are no longer claims. Build until opportunity can recognize you in the crowd. And if you need the deeper route, the full path for building without support, without connections, and without waiting for approval, join the Patreon collection called Succeed with Zero Support. There are more than 30 uncensored video lessons inside, built for men who have to create proof, leverage, discipline, and opportunity from nothing. The link is in the description and in the pinned comment. Use it as a private operating system for the next stage of your life. But whether you join or not, the standard does not change. Stop calling every closed door bad luck. Some doors are closed because your proof is weak. Stop calling every ignored message bad luck. Some messages are ignored because your value is unclear. Stop calling every failed opportunity bad luck. Some opportunities fail because you were not prepared to absorb them. Stop calling every invisible season bad luck. Some seasons are invisible because you did not distribute your evidence. The unsupported man does not get to hide behind fortune. He does not get to wait for the world to become fair. He does not get to spend his life proving that others had it easier. He must prepare so consistently, so visibly, and so seriously that fortune becomes a multiplier instead of a savior. Then, when luck comes, it will not find a dreamer waiting to be rescued. It will find a machine already in motion. And machines do not pray for doors. They create pressure until doors become irrelevant. So stop calling it bad luck when you have no proof. That is not wisdom. That is a disguise. Build until your work speaks before you do. Build until your evidence travels farther than your name. Build until serious people do not need faith to choose you. Build until opportunity sees you and knows where to land. That is how you rise without being chosen. That is how you make chance useful. That is how you stop being a victim of timing. And that is how you become the kind of man luck can finally use.